Hello, my name is George Clements, and welcome to this tutorial on Bob Dylan's song, You're Gonna Make Me Lonesome When You Go. So let's tune up and dive right in. Alright, so this song is played out of the key of E flat. We're going to use the capo at number 3 and play out of C position. So I'll play it for you now. I'm not going to play the whole song, I'm just going to play the first verse into the bridge and then into the last verse with the outro. Because this song I think has 6 verses. So I'm just going to condense it and so you can get a sense of what my right hand and my left hand are doing. Alright. Alright, now we're going to slow things down, take it phrase by phrase, measure by measure, and so we can take a look at what our right hand's doing and what our left hand is doing. So for this first intro, we're going to be going from the C shape to the G/B shape. It's like a G major chord, except we're putting the B in the bass, to an A minor 7, to a C sus4. You can also think of this as an F major shape with the 9th, with the C in the bass, but for simplicity's sake, we're going to call it C sus4. And then back to a C major, to a G, and then back to C major. Alright, so this is how the first little bit goes. So the right hand technique that we're using here is called Travis picking. And what is happening is our thumb is alternating between 2 strings, or 3 strings depending on the chord. So for this first bit, our thumb is just going right, so it's just playing those kind of lower notes of each of these chord shapes, mostly on the A string and the D string, and then when the root shifts to the low E string, it's playing from the low E to the D string. Right? And then our fingers are going to be lining up with the thumb, like this. There's a squeeze between the thumb and the index. And that pattern repeats over the G/B chord. Except we're going to use our ring finger to get that high E string to ring. And then it's the same pattern. That's the same pattern. And then this part, there's a pull off. And I'm putting my second finger down on this note here, which is the 9th of the chord. But then I'm taking it up at the end so I can get that open G again. So did you hear how that last pattern, I didn't start with my middle finger, instead I started with a squeeze between my thumb and my ring finger on the high E string, so it went like this. So that's the intro there, and now we're going to get into the verse. The verse is very similar to the intro, in that the left hand is going to be going from a C shape to a G/B to A minor 7, C sus4, C major. We're going to add our pinky down on that high 5th, or the G, to G major, then back to C, G over B, A minor 7, C sus4 again, and then C to G, back to C. Alright, so now I'm going to play it nice and slow, and you can see what the right hand is doing now. 3, 4. Alright, so as you're practicing this, just remember to go nice and slow and really aim for no tension in your right hand fingers. You want this hand to be very relaxed. Same with the left hand. You don't want to be squeezing too hard on the fretboard. Tension is always the enemy when playing music. So just remember to go slow so you can take it at whatever tempo you can play it without any mistakes. And then once you can do that, then you can try going faster. But the key is going slow at first. Alright, now let's get into the bridge. The bridge section is pretty straightforward, but it does have a surprise chord. and that's this chord. It's basically like your C major shape, but we're going to slide it up 2 frets. It's a really pretty chord. And then at the very end of the bridge, there's a cool little walk up that goes like this. Then I'm going to use fingers 2 and 4 to play, and that's all I'm doing is the 1st fret of the A string, 2nd fret of the B string, and then we're going to slide that up so we end back at the G over B shape. So it's kind of cool. And then we're going to end on by adding the 1st fret of the high E string to give it that dominant 7th sound. So I'll walk you through the chords of the bridge. So it goes from G to C, then back to G, then back to C. Here's our surprise chord, D. It's got an added 11th in there. And then we're going to go back to G major, then walk it up. That's just the A string, the D string, open the D string, G string, and fret 1 of the B string. Then we're going to use our middle finger and our 4th finger to make this little shape, and then slide it up, and then add this at the end. Alright? That's the G7. So I'll play the bridge for you now, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Repeat that again. Alright, now we're in the final verse. This one's a little bit different than the other verses, just because there's a little bit of an extension at the end. In these kind of verse-refrain songs, it's very common to repeat the refrain, or the title of the song, 3 times at the end of it. And we're going to use what's called a deceptive resolution, where we're going to substitute the 6th minor chord in there. Anyways, that's a lot of terminology. But basically we're going to use an A minor instead of a C major to kind of extend it. And then we're pretty much at the outro, which is the same as the intro. So that's it. So I'll play you now the kind of final verse with that subtle extension at the end. It's actually not very subtle, it's very obvious. Alright, here we go. 3, 4. A minor 7, C sus 4, C major, it'll pull off, C, G over B, first of the extensions. F major now. G. A minor 7. To G. Back to F. G sus4. Alright, I know that may seem a lot, but it's very similar to the patterns we've been doing previously. But the only thing that changes is that when we get to that F bar chord, our thumb pattern is going to change a little bit. Instead of doing a 2-note pattern, we're going to do a 3-note, which is boom. We're doing 3 strings in that pattern. It's actually 4 notes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. But we're going from the E string to the D string to the A string back to the D string. And that's the only time we really do that pattern, that thumb pattern in the whole song, is when we get to that F chord. And of course, if you just wanted to keep it 2 strings, you could. Just go from the octave. But I think it's kind of a cool sound to get that 5th in there on the A string. And I guess we do that same pattern when we go to the G chord. E, D string, A string, D string. So just be aware of that when you get to that spot, things shift a little bit for the right hand. Alright, we've made it to the outro. It's just like the intro, and we just end with a nice big C major chord with the 5th in the bass. I like this kind of thing where you put the 5th in the bass. Instead of just doing your regular C major, make it extra fat. A little icing on the cake. So it goes like this. 3, 4. Alright, thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed this video and learned something that you didn't know before. If you want to support me, consider joining my Patreon. For $5 a month, you can get access to more lessons and a monthly concert. So you can follow the link in the video, and till then, happy practicing.